It has been several weeks since my last tier list video, and since then, a new hero has been added to the game in form of a tank. In this video, I will be ranking all the 26 heroes in Bullet Echo, including the new hero. Please keep in mind that all ranking videos I put out on this channel are 100% based on my personal experience playing the game for years. And since a tier list is meant to be an opinion, you are all welcome to leave your own rankings in the comments section. And with that said, let's get straight into the video. As usual, we begin with a D tier. And as was the case in my previous tier list, Bertha is still the only hero in this tier. That's not to imply that she is weak, but if we are to compare her to the 25 other heroes in this game, this is where she deserves to be. Quite effective when played correctly and with the right team, but she is too predictable and can barely survive without the help of her teammates. But putting the D tier aside, we move on to the C tier, where we still have the same 3 heroes. Let's begin with Smog. This hero has been getting stronger in recent updates due to improvements in his health. Smog is definitely a decent character with lots of health, which makes him very difficult to destroy for some other heroes in the game. But his rockets are also very useful in terms of destroying small targets or breaking shields. With all this, I still have not found a good enough reason to rank him higher than this, so this is where he remains for now. Doc is very similar to Smog in terms of their main ability, but in my opinion, Doc can contribute more to the team simply because of his team healing ability, which reduces incoming damage greatly for Doc and all his nearby teammates. But apart from that, Doc is an average hero at best, and therefore he also lies in this tier. We conclude the C tier with Mr. Hurricane. Heroes who use shields are generally easy to use for most players, but Hurricane seems to be weaker than his counterparts in Angel and Bastion. I believe what he needs is more health or perhaps more damage output to become a more useful choice for players, and that wraps up the C tier. We now move on to the B tier, where we have 8 characters. Levi and Satoshi remain in this tier, both very solid heroes who can improve most teams. Satoshi is mostly known for his insane damage output, while Levi is one of the most scary heroes to face, especially for snipers, because she can achieve impressive aimed range with her gun that can allow her to fight them without fear. But since this is a comparison of all the heroes, there is many other heroes that are stronger than these two in my opinion, so I have decided to leave them in this tier. Sparkle and Cyclops also make up the B tier. Again, these are really solid heroes and can deliver impressive levels of pain to the enemy, but for new players, you will find some difficulty in learning to use these heroes effectively. Feel free to check out my playlist of hero guides. I will link it in the pinned comment. Stalker and Tess is another pair of average heroes, not too strong or broken, but when used correctly, they can wipe out full enemy teams if given the opportunity. Next up in this tier is Bastion, who is the easiest hero to use in the game from my personal experience. This hero is perfect for new players who just need to get those wins quickly and gain trophies or resources faster. He is still very common at higher levels of the game, but he always needs to play close to Dragoon just to allow him move around the map faster. And we conclude this tier with Firefly, a sniper that is obviously good at fighting from a distance, but also surprisingly excels in close range combat. His passive abilities that allow his gun to shoot faster make him a dangerous opponent for most heroes. Still a B tier hero at best, in my opinion, of course. The A tier is our next focus, and this is where it gets interesting. We begin with Shenji, who finally got nerfed recently and therefore became a less dangerous character. For more information about the balance changes, I will link a video in the pinned comment. But in my opinion, I think Shenji is no longer an S tier hero, so I've decided to place him in the A tier for now. Our next focus is the new hero, Ramsay. After using this hero for weeks, I can say that he is very solid, but he is not broken. He definitely has some interesting abilities and mechanics that are new to the game, but he is definitely not invincible. So he belongs to the A tier in my opinion. Leviathan and Dragoon remain in the A tier for now. Quite dangerous characters that should be feared, but they are not strong enough to get into the S tier above them. Blot and Slayer also maintain their positions in this tier. These are similar heroes with a few differences. Slayer does more damage than Blot, but he takes much longer to aim his gun, while Blot has the force field for protection but lacks thermovision, which can be a game changer in many situations. Ghost and Freddy are the first SMG heroes we come across in this tier list, and that tells you how strong all the SMG heroes are. But putting that aside, you can't go wrong with any of these two heroes. Ghost is excellent for stealth gameplay, while Freddy is a more reckless character. Both are extremely good heroes to use. And we end this tier with Lynx. This hero is actually one of the most useful heroes for the team because she helps her allies easily detect enemy footsteps as well as make less noise when they shoot or run around. I would definitely advise you to build your teams around Lynx, especially if your team has heroes that make a lot of noise while running. And now, moving on to the S tier, which contains the strongest heroes in the game. We begin with Alice. As I have already mentioned, all SMG heroes are very strong in general compared to the other classes of heroes. Alice was placed in the A tier in my previous tier list, but since then, I've used this hero a lot and I have been experimenting with different strategies, especially using the portals. It has come to my attention that this hero can be a very serious problem when in the hands of a very good player. The possibilities of outplaying your enemies are almost endless, and that is why Alice is now in the S tier. Arnie and Raven do remain in the S tier as shown in my previous tier list video. These are really powerful heroes that can sometimes seem impossible to deal with. Arnie's increase in armor penetration from a recent update made him a menace, and in Raven's case, it will be very hard for you to find a good team at high levels of the game that does not include this hero. Angel remains in the top 2 strongest heroes in the game in my opinion, with Mirage being the only hero that I can rank above her. Despite the countless balance changes that made Mirage weaker, she still remains the best hero in the game for me, and this has nothing to do with damage. It's all about mobility, and this is what allows for very high level gameplay with this character that cannot be replicated by any other hero. A sniper with long range that also has very high mobility is gonna be a serious problem for anyone. And that, my friends, brings us to the end of this tier list video. Feel free to drop your rankings in the comment section. I read and interact with all comments on this channel. And if you found any value in this video, here is a few other videos you might like.